Hello YouTube, today we're going to be talking about Schlepp, the Roblox YouTuber who was sent a cease and desist after he caught 6 predators and arrested them. Schlepp worked with law enforcement and the police, which is part of law enforcement, so I don't necessarily know why I said that. So basically, he even had JD on involved to kind of be like a bouncer type to talk to them. It kind of like, were like Himiko Toga was the predator, and then they're trying to be Ochaku or Araka, even though I realize that's a simplification. I realize it's serious, but I'm saying that it is a similar dynamic. So basically, the strategy that Schlepp used is to use decoy accounts, which are pretending to be children so he could catch the predators. However, there is a possible con to this. Like, if you keep uploading these videos of you catching predators with decoys, predators might catch on. Now, I realize that when people think with their schlong, they usually, some of them don't think rationally, so it's easier to catch predators if they're not thinking logically. But, I mean, they might adjust their tactics and end up making stuff worse, even if you do catch some of the predators. Now, some people I think are arrogant and they don't necessarily think they'll be caught, or they are too wrapped up in themselves to really think about the consequences. Not that that justifies it, it doesn't. I am just saying, now, Schlepp should come back to the platform of Roblox and be unbanned, since if their predators are talking to him, then that's less time for them to be talking to actual kids. And Schlepp has a team of people that are involved, and he even gets law enforcement to go on the hunt with them. They get the predators to go to a certain location, and then they have the cops eventually come after they talk to them, like, I know, like, they kind of say something like this, I know you're not a bad guy, you're just done some bad things, you know, well, you know, they try to extend olive branches by joking and stuff, and right now I'm in White House roleplay. I thought that was a fitting game for this topic. Since White House roleplay, you know, this might get to the White House because a U.S. congressman's involved and an attorney general from Louisiana is involved. And the congressman was, I think, Ro Khanna from California. He even has a petition about online safety. Now, let's talk about the optics of this. Now, this isn't just about protecting kids. Now, I am going to be bipartisan and say it's just the Republican and Democrat alike probably have this ulterior motive too. But part of the ulterior motive is to get more youth support for coming elections if they do get elected again or try to run. Now, I'm sure they probably do want to protect kids, but it's also, sometimes things are deeper than the surface. Sometimes people can seem authentic and nice and like they want to do the right thing, but sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it's a smoke screen for something else. Now, I do think that the congressman, he wants to release certain files of something that I probably can't say on YouTube, and those files basically involve an older man who had an island, if you catch my drift, a literal island, and sadly, allegedly, there were people who were hurt on that island, not necessarily physically, but extorted, kinda, like, and it was not okay what happened to them. Now, anyways, barring that, some people think Roblox CEO David Baszucki is linked to this list, which lists of people who might have gone to the island. Now, not everybody who went to the island did bad stuff, but some of them probably did. And I'm not going to name any names. Like, you can come to your own conclusions about that. But basically, David Baszucki was part of a similar network, I've heard, of media titans who were possibly involved with this guy before he got convicted in 2012. He killed himself, or somebody killed him, in 2019 in a prison cell. I think there was like a loop of like 2-3 minute footage, but some people call that a conspiracy theory. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. Either one is possible. he could have felt really guilty and he could have decided to kill himself, which is very understandable considering the severity of his crimes. Now, I'm not saying people should kill themselves, I'm just saying that it's understandable why he might have done that if he did that. And he did kind of throw his whole life away, though, so he would have... But even in prison, you could still find joy and redemption, even if you're never going to be let out. But why do the things that would have put you in prison in the first place? I mean, I think it's possibly like a twisted form of freedom, but it's not real freedom if it's hurting somebody else. Freedom is the autonomy to make your own decisions, but also know what decisions are not the best or not right. Now, people can come back from anything, but there should be accountability and therapy for offenders. Now, speaking of which, I think there's a like I said about the predators possibly adjusting their strategies. We need some more online safety tips, and also, not everyone you think is a friend is really your friend. You can't trust anybody on the internet. It's kind of like you know that meme, hide your wife, hide your kids, they're liking everybody out here. That's basically kind of what the internet is. But, I mean, that's a really old meme. It's like a guy standing outside a project's house, and he's warning everybody, and some of you younger watching probably don't know that, but I suggest not looking it up if you're under 18. I'm just being very safe here. Like, if you are learning about this schlep drama and you're a teenager, I'd suggest, if you do go look any further, I'd suggest having a parent or guardian with you, or a school teacher, and not look at stuff on your own. If you do, I don't necessarily think you should. I don't want to say anything that could get me in trouble, so get a parent or guardian, or don't do it at all. Now, anyways, now Discord is 13 and above. Now, people lie about their age on the internet. I lied about my age on the internet when I was younger, making an account for like Roblox or Club Penguin or something. But I'd suggest like being very careful who you talk to on the internet, because somebody could seem really into you, and you could be like, oh, they think I'm special, they think I'm great, they think I'm this, well, they're probably saying that to a bunch of other people too, so you never know. And also, if somebody says to send particular pictures or things like that, then they don't really think you're special, because if they really did think you were special, you wouldn't just be another picture on their hard drive that would get them sent to prison if people found out. I mean, come on now. Now, if you think some dynamic like that is actual real love, ask yourself, does love tell someone to send things that are compromising? Does love tell someone to hide? I mean, I've heard of like forbidden romances. That's not what I'm talking about, because that is not a forbidden romance, that is exploitation. Now, a forbidden romance would be like something with someone of your own age and you don't tell, but it's best to tell everybody, in my opinion. Like, if you have a relationship, you should tell someone that you trust, like an adult. And even if they are the same age, not every same age dynamics are healthy. And I'd suggest talking to a therapist or your parent or somebody. And if your parents aren't a good example, well, I'd say that real love will be willing to go with your boundaries and doesn't pressure you into anything. For example, an example of real love is my grandma and her boyfriend, Boppy. Now, Boppy was a very wonderful gentleman who did not pressure her. He didn't expect stuff out of her. He asked her to marry him, but she said no, and he dropped the subject. He was a very loyal, steadfast companion, and he also was similar to Megami Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen. And, like, I mean, that is an example of real love in the real world. Now, you can find love on the internet, but I suggest being very careful and only date someone of the same age. I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't date, but anyways, that's some of the video, and Bandicam only 10 minutes, so bye YouTube. Stay safe online.